Hello friends, welcome to the second part of analgesic antipyretic and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agent. In this part we will see the remaining non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents and analgesics. So very first agent from that is the paracetamol, also known as acetaminophen. It is an active metabolite of phenacetin. Previously, the phenacetin is a drug. Later on, found that as the metabolite of the phenacetin is also having the activity for the analgesic antipyretic property, and therefore this later on this metabolite itself become the first priority drug rather than the phenacetin. This is one of the well tolerated drug whenever given orally. As such, no gastrointestinal side effect much more are found. Good analgesic and antipyretic property they are having. This paracetamol is having, along with the very little anti-inflammatory property having. Peripheral COX inhibitor. Uh, uh, COX inhibition is little bit poor in the this paracetamol. Act principally by inhibiting the prostaglandin synthesis, and therefore a very good analgesic property it also has. A good vasodilation property increases the peripheral blood flow and the sweating. It has well absorbed orally. The peak plasma level reaches within the 60 minutes, and the plasma half-life is around 2 hours. Conjugated by the glucuronic acid, and to the some extent it is also conjugated with the sulfuric acid. Well tolerated, very few side effects they are having: hepatotoxicity, saturation of the metabolite, as well as hepatotoxicity which is leading to anorexia, nausea, vomiting, pallor, sweating, elevated HGOT or HGPT level. These are the some side effects which are found with the paracetamol. Second drug is indomethacin, a non-selective COX inhibitor, more potent than aspirin as an COX inhibition property, more potent anti-inflammatory agent than that of analgesic and antipyretic. So indomethacin is widely used as an anti-inflammatory agent rather than analgesic anti-inflammatory. It also decreases the mucopolysaccharide synthesis. So therefore, principal use along with the anti-inflammatory agent, it is also effective in management of a rheumatic arthritis. As far as the therapeutic efficacy is concerned, the inflammation associated with rheumatic arthritis, osteoarthritis or spondylitis or joint pains, etc., shoulder pain, tenderness in the muscles, these can be very well managed by the indomethacin. So acute gouty arthritis, acute shoulder pain, these are the antipyretic effect which is related to Hodgkin's disease, that is lymphatic cancer. They can be well managed with the indomethacin. So it is a non-selective COX inhibitor. Therefore, if you see the side effect, but obvious side effect are gastrointestinal irritation, heartburn, epigastric distress, nausea, ulceration, or hemorrhage. Then CNS side effect also includes dizziness, vertigo, etc. These are the side effects of the indomethacin. Next is the diclofenac or aceclofenac. That is phenamic acid derivatives. They are potent COX inhibitor and inhibit the prostaglandin synthesis. They also have one more property along with this, that they pro-inflammatory mediators. Other pro-inflammatory mediators are also inhibited by the diclofenacs. These kind of a category of the. They are potent analgesic and anti-inflammatory. Antipyretic property is little bit less than that of analgesic and antipyretic. Properly, they are analgesic and anti-inflammatory. So therefore, they are principally used in rheumatic arthritis, osteoarthritis, and spondylitis. Then topical ocular inflammation, in that also it is typically used. Uh, Lower back pain and post-traumatic pain, that can be very well managed with this diclofenac and aceclofenac. Dosage, as far as dose is concerned, diclofenac is given in 50 to 100 milligram 2 times a day, whereas aceclofenac up to 100 milligram twice a day. As also the aceclofenac is very effective in the gel form. 3% gel is also effective over there. Inhibition of the COX is again non-specific, therefore gastric irritation, erosion, dyspepsia, these are the common side effects, gastrointestinal side effect whenever these are non-specific inhibition. Next category of drug which is aryl propionic acid. The examples are ibuprofen, ketoprofen, like that's this type of drug. Again, they are non-selective COX inhibitor, very good anti-inflammatory agents. So due to non-selective agent, but obvious side effect are nausea, vomiting, gastrointestinal upset, abdominal cramp, peptic ulceration. These are the side effects. And due to its potent anti-inflammatory property, They are effective in management of rheumatic arthritis, osteoarthritis, and spondylitis. Typically, they have the interactions with many of the drug like aminoglycoside, anticoagulant, antihypertensive agents. So, corticosteroids. These are some category of a drug where they have the drug interactions. Okay. Next is the phenamides. Mefenamic acid is a typical drug, very potent non-selective COX inhibitor, more COX-1 inhibitor than COX-2 inhibitor, and therefore it is more indicated as an analgesic rather than anti-inflammatory or antipyretic. Analgesic property is more, and primarily dysmenorrhea, the condition of dysmenorrhea, these are very well used. Um, Principally used in rheumatic arthritis and osteoarthritis. uh, do not superiority as an anti-inflammatory agent. No much anti-inflammatory property it does have. More adverse effect other than other non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. Little bit COX-1 inhibition is more potent, therefore they will have a GI side effect maximum. Definitely more adverse effect you will found. So these are the nausea, epigastric distress, has the heartburn. These are the gastrointestinal side effect we will get out of this phenamides. Oxycams, these are the piloxicams or meloxicam. These are the long-term non-selective blocker. This is a typicality. They are non-long-term. Their activity is little bit long-term. Non-selective again. So non-selective means GI side effect is again there. Heartburn, ulceration, proliferation, bleeding, etc. Long-term use, therefore more affinity for they are having the half-life more than 18 to 24 hour. So once a day dosage form is required because long-term non-selective inhibition is there. Little bit more affinity for COX-1 than that of a COX-2. Inhibit migration of the polymorphs or free radical migration, they inhibit. Prominent COX-1 inhibition, therefore obvious side effect are gastrointestinal, and they are very well used in management of acute inflammation and joint conditions like rheumatic arthritis. Uh, Pyrazolone example is phenylbutazone and oxyphenbutazone, very popular anti-inflammatory agent. Again, the less popular as an analgesic and antipyretic because anti-inflammatory property is more prominent over here. Typical side effect of this oxyphenbutazone or phenylbutazone is agranulocytosis. Whenever the drug is discontinued, it leads to the agranulocytosis. Again, the GI side effect is there. This is well absorbed when given orally, but one limitation again is that 98% is plasma bound. Half life is 50 to 100 hours and concentrated in synovial fluid. Converted to oxyphenbutazone, phenylbutazone is converted to oxyphenbutazone, which is an active metabolite, principally used in rheumatic arthritis, spondylitis, acute gout, etc. Again, the side effect are gastrointestinal. Most of the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents are having this type of side effect other than COX-1 inhibitor, obviously. Bone marrow suppression, aplastic anemia, agranulocytosis, these are the typical side effects related to pyrazolone derivatives. This is what about the other remaining non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. So here we finished the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents. In continuing videos, we will see about the remaining category of a drug which are associated with the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. These are my contact details. If you have any kind of a difficulty or doubt, you can contact me over there. Thank you. Thank you very much.